Hey guys, I'm gonna do a deck tech on Brawl here, just chilling at home. It's, pandemic season and everybody's gonna stay home. My kids, let me just turn this down or turn it off. That way you can hear me chitter chatter. My kids are in the background, so if you hear them, they're at home, and so is everybody else, as you should be. If you're out there, this is the time of, you know, care and concern for everybody, and just chill. Everything will be fine. And only do the things that you need to do and stay at home. I think of fun things to do, like playing some Magic at home. Now, recently, my friends and I have been using Microsoft Teams. I got to turn down this audio. Let me turn that off. Sorry, guys. Recently, my friends and I have been using Teams to get together and play. Get a camera set up. You can use your latest iPhone, and if you have earbuds with a mic, you can use that too and play just like this at home. And if you have some, webcams and other things, and mics and whatever, you can easily do this and play remotely from home. And you don't have to be at the brick and mortar to play some cards, right? Although brick and mortar always is more fun. It's always fun to see people in person and really get to know people you play against. So anyways, I want to talk about Baral. I believe Baral is one of those commanders that is very high powered. Oh, geez, they're Fortnite. Must be really exciting. Anyway, Baral's a top tier general, and he can play, I think, with the best of them up there. You need to tweak how you're going to win with him, I think, is the most important. And if you need to get to a quick win con if you can get there. I'm not sure I've found that yet. I have something that I'll show you. Certainly, this can be improved on. But Brawl is one of these generals. So if you're going to play Brawl, A, you have to love blue, okay, which most of us do. But B, you have to be that individual that just like, nope, nope. Sorry if you don't like me, but nope. Because people do not like playing against, especially mono blue. There's oftentimes you can sit at the table and you'll be just, by pulling this guy out, you're going to be the target of some hatred, but rightfully so. So expect that if you're going to go and play this type of general. And guys, if you're out there playing against something like this, just say, look, man, don't feel bad about saying, hey, listen, Brawl, I really don't like playing against it. Do you have anything else you can play? And if you're playing against me, I'd be like, sure. Here's another deck. I got another 10 of them. Let's pull it out. What kind of, I would engage in the conversation. Say, okay, well, what kind of deck do you like to play against, or what's your deck compromised of? And when it comes to power levels, again, I'm going to revert to one simple ideology on power levels is CMC cost. If it's low and your deck requires very little mana, like 2 or 3 mana to really get going, you're a competitive deck. You're top tier as far as I'm concerned. If you're waiting till turn 6, 7, or 8 to be doing, funky things with synergy, then you're more of a, I would wager to say, a mid tier, just casually competitive, right? So there's that. This, I would say, would be more competitive. I designed this deck because I was playing partners in a brick and mortar league that we had running. It was really uber competitive, and I enjoyed it. It was fantastic. And I built him just to be able to partner with anyone, just because he has so much interaction. And certainly this deck can take more time, it can be improved, is what I'm trying to say. This is not final stages. This is something that I kind of threw together. For example, I have all snow covered lands. I have 30 lands except for 2 non-basics. I don't have the doubling mana, 3 CMC from Fifth Dawn. I forget the artifact's name. Anyways, you exile a land and copy a snow covered, and only you get double blue. That can certainly go in here. I've been thinking about it, but not yet. I haven't found the right synergy to use it. Anyways, so 30 lands. They're all snow covered. There's much better snow-covered lands nowadays. Although these old ones are neat. And then 2 non-basics. Castle of Ventress, because, if you're stuck and you have mana, mana sink for scry 2. And to return an artifact from your graveyard back to the top. Because I have, my win con is based off an artifact, so it's important for me to have this. Certainly, if you get rid of it, it's not the end of the world, but it makes it harder if my win con gets interacted with. Anyway, so that's the land set, 30 lands. And now, is that my phone binging? I apologize. We're going to go through draw spells. All right. So cards that in a direct or roundabout way draw me some cards, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 of them. Generally these are 1, because Baral, for those, let's just do that. Right? For those that don't know, Baral's a 1/3 legendary creature. He's a human wizard. Okay, 1 blue, 1 colorless, 2 mana to cast. Okay, instants and sorcery spells you cast, so the ones that I cast, cost me 1 less. And whenever a spell or ability that I control counters a spell, you may draw a card, and if you do, discard a card. So you're going to loot. Okay, so that's what Baral does. He discounts spells for me. So, Opt is one of these great 1-drop blue spells. It lets you do something early on and be, sort of proactive in your gameplay right off the bat. But then Impulse also costs 1 with Baral Resolve. There's a Preordain, and then Chart of Course cost me 1. To draw 2 cards. Maybe I have to loot. Sometimes I do or I don't. Scry 2, draw a card. Draw 2 on tap lands, discard outlet as well. So these are all draw spells. Very low. This is my only high costed one. This could be a Treasure Cruise, I believe, or there's one other Delve one that lets you do, but I'm trying this one out. It cost me 3 mana. I think those other ones would probably be better in this slot because it could only potentially cost you 1. Depending how many cards you have to delve away. And then I have some bounce. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bounce spells. Sea Rift, because in any blue deck, you want to be playing that card. Echoing Truths, because if you're playing against any token strategies, that's your go-to. This bounces anything, even lands. Boomerang. Just say nope. Right? And any non-land permanent. That's always relevant. At instant speed, to be able to go bounce that for 1 mana is very good. Right? Because to be able to disrupt some sort of synergy is excellent. An excellent strategy to have. So I wanted to have at least 5 choices that I can go to in this deck for that. Excuse me, for those reasons. I have some water. Excuse me. Getting old is but always getting yourself together. So 5 tutor spells is what I call these. This tutors for any card, puts a third from the top. This searches for a blue instant. This is for any artifact, maybe my win con. This is for sorcery. This is for any instant or sorcery. So I have 5 different ways to tutor in my deck, right? Now, granted, they're, other than that one is any card, they're limited, but you can work your way to say, okay, I'm going to go get an instant. I can get this one, and then I'm going to get Fabricate to get my win con, to play my win con, and get there. I'll have to say my win con is slow, but again, this deck was built to be partner and interactive, to allow my partner time to play and develop their game, and I'm more of a slower, lethargic win con in this, in my opinion. But you'll see. You make that choice up on your own. And this lovely stack here is counter spells. I believe it's 29. 30 is a good number, but then you gotta cut something, right? That's always a problem when you're building nice, fun, synergistic EDH decks, commander, sorry, if you're offended, you know, you get to these synergies, right? Anyways, building these decks is so much fun, and having to make a decision on a single cut can be so problematic. And I bet you that most of you out there that's built a fun EDH deck sat there with a pile of cards staring at it for a good half hour saying, Jesus, what am I going to cut? But that's so good, and that one's so good, and that's, oh, fantastic. Yeah, we've all had that problem. So certainly 30 can be the number, but I have, what, 29? I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. And yes, I know how to count. Thank you very much. So if you want to make fun of me for that, that's fine. So we have a number of 1 mana counterspells, right? There's, what, 6 of them? You know, because why not? And this particular one, if you don't have a Swan Song and you're playing any blue deck, that's the counterspell in your deck. Okay? It's 1 mana. Yes, you give him a bird, but there's lots of ways to deal with a 2/2 flyer. Just put that in your deck, okay? If I can give you any advice, is if you're running a blue deck, run a Swan Song. Okay? Any amount of different mana colors, any whatever. It's only 1 pip. Just 1 blue. So that's 1. Then we go through kind of 2, and you got your standard mana drain and a nice foil counterspell. Arcane Denial is fun too, right? And these are just counters. They have good value. You know, certainly, where is it? Where did I pass it? Certainly, Mana Leak can be one that gets traded out, but you know, you resolve a Baral, and then on turn 3 someone plays something, and for 1 blue you're like, pay another 3 or counter it. That's pretty good. I'm trying this Charm out and Cryptic Command. Those are the big blue ones, and that's the biggest I have, but this is so much value. And then I have what I consider my free counters. Free. So I don't have to pay, well, everything, nothing is free because there's always some cost, but these are the ones that I can, without any mana, cast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 counter spells in this deck in Brawl. So that means on turn 0 I can interact, right? So you know, I got any one of these on turn 0, I can interact. You know, someone we all keep, and I got Mental Misstep in my hand, and somebody goes, okay, first player, Plains, tap, Sensei's Top, pass. Oh, you say, whoa, wait a minute. Sensei's Top's on the stack. Okay, and the guy looks at you begrudgingly and says, okay. And you're like, I pay 2 life, cast a Mental Misstep. And the look on their face at this point, this is what makes blue so cruel to play against and so taxing, because it's frustrating. It's like, oh, really? You know, I kept this hand based on that Sensei's Top, and that's what you're hoping for, you know. Or maybe the guy's like, yeah, no, it doesn't really matter, but now I'm behind. You know, you become the target. So that's why blue players have a bad rap. Daze, because you can bounce this to pay 1 extra. Again, same play. I've done Daze on a Sensei's Top, I don't know how many times. I have to play first, okay? Which is fine, because I have to have an island to play. But, you know, play my island, pass the turn. The guy, again, plays land top, and I go, oh, pay 1 more. Return that land back to my hand. There you go. And they look at you like, misdirection, disrupting shoal, foil, commandeer. If it's a planeswalker, that's your planeswalker. And then Pact of Negation and Force of Will as your staple. What's that? Force of Negation is the other one that's free that should be in this deck. I don't own a copy, so unfortunately it's not. So again, I think it was 29. So that's this deck is just nope, counter, nope, and let my partner go in a group setting. You're going to be counting everybody's stuff until you get in position to win. I would advise you to make sure that you protect your hand when you're going to go for a win on your turn. And it's difficult on a 1v1 with this deck, and you'll see why, but it can be done. And then just general spells here. Pongify, High Tide, Call to Mind, because who doesn't want to bring back some of the juicy spells to your hand. Trick Bind and Stifle, because if you want to, my kids out there, I apologize again. If you want to play a fetch land on turn 1, and I've played ahead of you and have an island in play, and you play a fetch land and say, you know, pay a life, go get, and you're like, ooh, that's on the stack. Stifle. Again, the look on people's face is priceless. I enjoy it. You know, it doesn't make me their best friend. Quite the contrary, actually. But, you know, after they get to know me, they're like, okay, fine, I get it. That's a fun play to do. If you do it to me, I'll be thumbs up, man. Then I got these spells. These two are, one of them should be a Time Twister. But who's got that kind of money, right? These reshuffle your hand. So this one says, each player shuffles his or her hand into his or her graveyard. Shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into his or her library, then draws 7. So they draw 7s. This one's fantastic because it untaps 6 lands. So he has it. You untap your 6. It's fantastic. But if you got this young lady out, okay, each opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn. So she's out. You resolve one of this. You'll draw 7. Your opponents will draw 1 card. One of the reasons I don't think Planeswalkers would be good as generals, because this as a general would be quite overpowered. You can easily run a blue deck that's all about wheels. Right? Wheels and control. And you can get into a wheel. Like I said, if you have Time Twister, there's I think 2 others or a few more that can draw 7 in blue, even some artifacts. Like, you know, you can really knock a table out. If you're playing a table of 4 people, you know, she's 3 mana. You can easily resolve her on turn 2 in a ramp blue style deck. And then, you know, tutor wheel, everybody draw 1, I've got 7. Go, pass turn in a mono blue control. So one of the reasons I don't think Planeswalkers as generals are good to say, you know, like, yeah, let's just, if they're legendary, they can be your general. I think you really need to think about the game in itself when you can design a Planeswalker as a general, and you have to take into account the library of magic when you're designing a Planeswalker for Commander. That's just my opinion. If I'm at a table that wants to play this, and I'm constantly playing these guys, and they want to play that style, hey, Teferi, I'll play Teferi. Teferi says you guys can't play instants or sorceries. You know, only sorcery speed spells. That's yeah. Who stacks that deck up? Anyway, so I'm getting sidetracked here, but you know, so there's this. So I can potentially do that in my game with Baral. And then I got 2 enchantments, Back to Basics, and Counterbalance. Now, Back to Basics, if you don't have this in a monocolored deck, especially a blue deck, or a 2-color deck, like a blue-green that runs a lot of mono lands, you should be playing this card. Because most competitive decks, or semi-competitive, or people that have tons of synergy are going to run non-basic lands, and you can punish them for that. So, again, nobody likes you when you play this card. And Counterbalance is one of those hated cards, because in my artifact pile over here, one of them is Sensei's Top. This is a great package to run, but you have to know your meta. You have to know you have to be in the same CMC in the meta. So this deck, if you've noticed, is a lot of low 1, 2, 3 CMC costs. There are some that are more, but it's low. So it's meant for the competitive game. So someone goes to play a free spell in a land countered 1 mana spell or 2 mana spell, right? Like, anyway, so this is a combo you should be running. But be careful, because counterbalance is 2 blue pips. So your devotion to blue, and I wouldn't say I wouldn't, but running this in anything more than a 2-color general is taxing. You need to be very efficient in your mana if you're going to do that outside of 2 colors. So then we'll look at my artifacts for them. As you saw, Sensei's Top, because this is a fantastic card. I'm not going to say anything more about that. Almost, if I were going to argue, what's the one card that should be in every commander deck? This would be on my top 5 list. I don't know where in the top 5, but it would be there. Reduce my blue spells by 1. This is quasi Baral. And Vidalcan Shackles, because why not? You want to play creatures? I'll borrow them for a bit. And then my win con is the Proteus Staff. Now this Proteus Staff, when I got it, had so many marks, like somebody was cutting on it, but I needed one and I got it, and I don't really want to trade it up. It's fine. And then into my win con. So I only run 2 creatures in my deck and my general, so I have 3 creatures. So the idea is get Baral out, cast this, cycle this into this, and then have enough control in my hand to protect this until my turn. And that's sort of the win con, because annihilating 4 permanents and hitting people for 12, or infect damage for lethal, is fantastic way to win. I'm going to say, if you're sitting across this, nobody likes that, but hey, so that's the win con. And again, I'm just going to say this about Brawl. You can easily make this something like Temple Bell and Mind Over Matter combo. You put an Eldrazi in just to reshuffle your yard if you need it. That's a fantastic way to win as well, because once those are resolved, it's very hard to interact with. It's like, I'm going to win. You need to interact while this is on the stack, and playing mono blue, you can easily protect it, and it's much easier to set up a win con like that. Oh, my kids. Oh man, I gotta talk to them. These games get them too riled up sometimes, I tell you. I mean, who am I kidding? When I play Magic Arena, I get riled up too. Just your emotions can get all over the place. But anyways, I digress. You can play that combo to probably better efficiency than this. I found this to be more fun and creative, and this is, when I play this deck, I'm going to say this much. So I'll travel around and I'll play in a group. And if I sit down and I play and I just try to, distribute my interactions and try to play as fair as possible. And listen, the idea is to kill each other, right? Like, so you shouldn't be that mad if somebody's coming at you. That's just a sign of respect to say, hey, he sees me as a strong player and he's trying to take me out. Nothing wrong with that. But I play him when I sit at a group and I played, and someone's just constantly, no matter what I do or what the board state is, on me. I don't know what it is. Sometimes that happens. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to reciprocate and let you know what that feels like, and I'll just play a Baral. And usually what I'll do is, and that's mean-spirited, I guess you can say, and if you've been on the receiving end of this, I apologize. But in fairness, it's because I was receiving the same sort of treatment. So, what's fair is fair. In the game of Magic, I mean, on a personal level, I would never begrudge anybody for playing anything or playing any style of deck. I just enjoy shuffling and playing. So to me, it doesn't matter. But again, if you're going to behave a certain way around me, I will play Brawl. And what I do is I'll make sure I interact with you completely and let you know what it feels like when someone's picking on you, namely Baral. He's not fun. And again, I play him in a competitive, uber competitive mindset games, because guys they understand when you're playing blue. They understand the nature of it. and they don't get all emotional over interactions with Baral. I'll just leave them out here for my wrap up. That's about 25 minutes, so I'll just do my quick wrap up, and hopefully you guys enjoy that. Anyway, so I play him in competitive setups and matches. People understand blue, and it's not as bad, and I don't feel as bad. In other social aspects, if people are going to be unkind because I'm at the table for whatever reasons, then I will reciprocate, and I will reciprocate with a Baral deck, right? Because mono blue is a very strong color. I know there's been arguments back and forth over whether or not it's the strongest color in the game. It's very strong, and if you were to argue on the side of it is, I would definitely have to agree on probably 80% of the arguments made for that. Anyway, Baral is a great general. Be careful when you play him, because he's going to draw some hate. He's a mono blue general, so just on its own, and people are going to be like, oh, it's all counter spells. If you want to soften this general up, you can absolutely do that. You can just run all sorts of just interactive spells, like draw, and all the whole table draws. I'll take an extra turn. Well, actually, hold on. Nobody likes extra turns, so forget that. But bounce. Can attack. All kinds of stuff. So you could really, and you get discounted on your sorceries or instants. But you're going to run some number of counter spells in a mono blue deck. Maybe not 30, maybe 10. But again, he's an uber competitive general, and if you're gonna, you want to play in a competitive format, play him. Carpet of Flowers sucks for Baral. Let me just say, because you're burning your resources to keep up with their mana generation that you're feeding them. And for those of you that don't know Carpet of Flowers, and Tom, if you're listening, damn you. But yeah. Carpet of Flowers, look it up. It's if you play blues in your meta, and you have access to green, that card should be in your deck. And what a way to finish on a mono blue general. Talk about other colored cards. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'd like to do more of these. I just like to talk about my builds, and there's nothing, my builds are not the end all be all on the general. They're just sort of open your eye to what this is, and hopefully you can either improve or not improve or change or whatever. Anyways, mono blue Baral. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Ciao.